just go there when I have the puck and I'll give it to you. Like, how is that so hard to comprehend?
Let's go back to a conversation we had with you in June, because things have changed contractually since that time. You mentioned, and we had talked about it previously when you were in Dallas, of how you had just looking for a home as a goalie. You'd bounced around, been traded multiple times, up and down, AHL, NHL. Obviously, part of that conversation had to do with your brief stint in Nashville and why things weren't clicking with them early last year because of guys who'd been in the same spot for a long time getting moved and that kind of thing. You got your first NHL one-way with the Dallas Stars. Then as a free agent, we talked about you getting more money, which was long-term life money. That was a big difference, right? The difference of $1 million. Well, I'm just here to celebrate a little bit, if I may, because you signed an extension with a $2.5 million cap hit that is going to be next year, in addition to the one that you're finishing out this year. And first of all, it couldn't happen to a better guy, right? We're friends. We've known Scott for a long time. We're thrilled that you're getting yours. But this is, you mentioned something about the Nashville contract that you signed before last season, as things would help some family members or things that you could do post-playing career. I have a feeling that this is going to go a really long way, and you deserve every cent of it.
I don't even know how to say thank you. That's very nice. Yeah, I mean, we talk about it all the time, and just like the people we've met and situations. We just had our second daughter, and we've had some nice gifts of like blankets and things like that. And my wife was joking the other day. She's like, Scarlett has so much stuff from the Dallas group, like blankets and shirts and chairs with her name on it, like styrofoam things. And like, we're having baby too, and it's like, a lot of like people are still giving us great gifts. We're not complaining by any means, but it's just so funny of how many blankets and knitted things, and Scarlett's name, I think it's on almost everything she owns. And Daphne's gotten there, but it was just so like, the whole pregnancy and going through it, and just our time in Dallas and the amount of interaction we were to have. Obviously, going to Nashville and then coming here with a toddler, there's no, 7:00 dinner is a lot of the time where you're out. Like, we've probably gone, I don't even know, maybe count on one hand, maybe 6-7 times we've gone to dinner, outside with all of us. So, there was golf contacts and friends in, Plano and all the way up to Prosper and down. Like, we had people everywhere, and our knits circle here is a lot tighter. Obviously, there's some guys in the team with kids, and that's kind of your new network because of the schedules and things like that. But yeah, it was just, we talk about just how great of a time we had there, and it's hard to match that up wherever you're gone. And to leave, obviously the money was something that you just look for a raise. I think I mentioned that before. It was nothing that I deserve money. I, need a 10 by 10, anything like that. It was just, years served, and thought I was a big part of it. Points towards the team, all that kind of stuff was kind of my look at it. And they were just, they have to build a roster, and you can see that they're still cap hit, obviously, with the Robertson thing. Like, they're just a good team with good players, and it's not easy to manage that. You feel for the GMs. I'm sure they would be like, oh yeah, we'd love to give everybody we like money. It's, that's not how it works. So to get the raise and get that contract in the summer from Nashville took out almost every pressure-ish situation I gave myself of what can I make out of this career, kind of off the shoulders, is the way that we've put money away and set up our life back in Michigan for when it's all said and done. If everything ended right now, we had to go get some jobs and do it. That contract, the way we've handled it, has pretty much made it so we could go home and work some regular jobs and live our life with our family. And now to throw this new contract on top of it, it's there's a renovation going on at the house. There's some school funds that have been funded. There's some stuff for the daughters that's really like warmed our heart, in the sense that what we've earned out of the career, right? You got guys making, $17 million a year. You got guys making $950 that are begging for my situations. That's where I was. You got guys in the American League, East Coast grinding, and you get to these certain situations where a lot of my starts, there's pressure, right? You want to play, you want to earn another contract, and now that you've got that. It's like, is there more? Can I keep playing? How long can I go? What will they pay me? Same kind of thing. I'll fill water bottles. Keep me on the bench. Like it's come to that vibe. But no, we've been blessed with it and put in a really good spot with the last two deals. And obviously hurts leaving the team for what it was, but there's human stuff and life stuff that was up for grabs there, and we were able to take it and put ourselves in a really good spot.
Scott, you said that Scarlett's name was all over all of the stuff you got. So, to be honest, how long did you say, should we name our second daughter Scarlett, just so everything's already there for her?
We had some tough times with baby two's name. It came down, I think, maybe a month out. We had Scarlett pretty early, just with the situation. So I know we were joking, like we just wanted her to be the same, like not the same but different. And funny enough, like they look very similar as babies. So we catch ourselves kind of, as every parent does. You've been so used to just saying Scarlett every day, as you're talking to Daphne. It's just like Scarlett comes out. And I'm like, now I understand why my parents would just say Mark Paul Scott and just be, what are you? Come here. It's just easier.
Well, Scott, I'm listening to you, and what I wanted to ask you, and you kind of led into the whole thing, and I guess now I know the answer, but is, you're only 33 years old, so you can play for another 5-6 years, whatever you want, and whatever, obviously, what a team wants. Would it interest you at the end of your playing career to take on some kind of a role as a goaltending coach for a club? And because I think guys that do your kind of role and have your kind of job, because again, for me, goaltending coaches seem to be more Fraser Cranes than they are anything else. And, just the psyche and talking guys off a shelf and maybe off a roof at times. Would that be something that would interest you if somebody came up to you at the end of your career, whenever you decide that it's something you would really like to do?
Yeah, I've kind of bounced, a lot of the time it's always your guys' role. Like you talk well, you interview well, would media be fun? I enjoy breaking down the game and seeing that stuff. And then I think, coaching, I always felt like I was muted as a goalie a little bit. Like you can talk, but you can't tell the guys to forecheck harder. Like it's just not your role. Like, it's a weird spot in the room, especially when you're not playing. Like guys are all focused and you're kind of in the corner. And, I'll give my point on what I see on certain goalies and things, but I always wish I could just be in the power play meeting and say more and just, give my opinion on your job's to score on me. And I would love to almost be like I don't even know what the right word is, but like a what can you do of opportunity goal scoring type situation. And goalie coaches do that. You go into playoffs, we'll break down whoever we're playing and tendencies. But there's definitely hockey. There's no doubt it'll be either media or goalie coaching or coaching in some, I think, regard. I would love to spend as much time with the kids as possible, as this has been so fun with the last break here, not going all four of us every day. But yeah, I think, there's guys that say if I haven't played, I can coach, but I think I'd be able to get through to guys and kind of understand the psyche and the day-to-day grind. And like you said, there's teaching still at the level for sure. But there's just a psyche, and Jeff Reese is really good at, there in Dallas, just pumping you up and making you feel like you got no problems with your game every time you're about to start, right? And he's been around for so long at doing that, and why he still is around. And I've gone through guys that are great teachers, and then there's a little bit of that, like, well, you kind of make me feel like I suck at times, but you're teaching me, so it's the balance there. But I've been really lucky throughout my career. I think there's a path each way. It's just kind of depend on who calls and what the responsibilities look like, I think, when it's all said and done.
You think
I was trying to say,
you get a contract here?
You said you want some time with your family. How does 2 to 3 Central Time, Monday through Friday, sound at DLS? So we can be don't on hours.
As you can see, location can be.
You can do it from Wisconsin outside.
Don't do it. Don't do it. You look like you're in a really good spot, though, Lindsay. It looks.
Yeah, that's why you can do this. If you can do it remote from those guys remote and be like here, and you don't have to sit with them, because I get it in stereo sometimes from both of these guys. So, hey, but I want to ask you. So, and this is just my opinion. I believe the role players, third, fourth line guys, backup goaltenders, I actually think that they become better coaches and all those things, because we didn't have the game that came to us. It didn't come to us, and we just got to play, and you get every chance to play. And I've always talked about some of the superstars, and Gretz, I talked to him a little bit at one time, like, and even Mess, like those guys, the game came so, I don't want to make it say they came easy to them. They just had the gift to play the game. And then all of a sudden, when they got to get behind the bench, And then you got to start making decisions, and you're in the middle of this thing. Plus, they're used to coming to the game, and they get their half hour before practice. They get their hour before a game. They play the game. They're superstars, and they go home. Us, we had to be there early. We don't get optionals, and you know how that role goes, and you're there all the time. You're used to putting the 10-hour days in, maybe not 10, but we're used to putting in 10 or 2 to 3 times more than the superstars do. So you're kind of built to be in that situation because you know what's all involved in it.
No, I agree, and I'm pretty sure, I don't know if it was, I think it was Gretzky kind of said it's like it's harder to teach it. Just like, it's situational where it's, like just go there when I have the puck and I'll give it to you. Like, how is that so hard to comprehend when you have guys that, and it's just, he sees it and it's like, it's coming, I'm sure if you were to ask, certain guys, I've kind of joked before, I'm like, with guys, I'm like, if I ever coach, like, would you be my assistant coach? He's like, I don't have nothing to do with it. Like, I want, no breakdown. And, I don't think I'm better in any situation, but it's just like, I think you kind of hit the nail on the head with going through kind of the grind and optionals and things like that. Like, I'm in those skates all the time, and I'm just like, hey, like, are you playing today? The guy's like, I don't know. I haven't been told. Like, I don't know. And I always feel for those guys because I don't think the coaches are doing anything wrong throughout my career. It's just like that communication, I think, is so important to be like, hey, whoever you are, you're our 13th forward. We're calling you up. You're going to practice for 3 days. If an injury happens, you're going to play. That guy is so much easier in his mind to be like, okay, I'll work. You can bag skate me for 3 games, whatever it is, than to be like, hey, we're calling you up, and then you don't talk to him for 72 hours, and then he gets sent down. Like, did you do good? Did I do bad? Like, I know I might not have been used, but just that little bit of communication here, being in that change stall with those role players, you walk in, you look at this, lineup, you're scratched, see you tomorrow, and it's just like you're never talked to. I feel like that role sometimes needs, or that whatever the pavement of that needs to be smoothed out, just because you can lose guys pretty quick, and I've seen guys go down holes in their mind of just like, I haven't played for 2 weeks and why am I even coming? And you see them battling those demons, and then like I'm on the ice and they're taking slap shots from the hash mark. I'm like, dude, I'm not your enemy. Like, it's
leave me alone.
I'm just getting I'm the punching bag right now sometimes. And, I don't think coaches mean anything by it. They got 25 guys to manage and rosters and everything, and it's just sometimes it gets lost in translation. And I think you said it like just right on the head. Like those role players understand it, and then they kind of try and do better than what happened to them. And I think I'd be good in that kind of role. Maybe more as an assistant, I guess, would be that kind of approach. But just communicating on that level, I think certain guys that are on that upper echelon throughout their whole career have never seen kind of those dog days and just the different side of we're on the same team, but we're in a different role.
You were mostly in Dallas under the Pete DeBoer coaching staff, but you did overlap a little bit with Rick Bowness. Bones is having a lot of success with Columbus since he joined them midseason, and obviously they didn't want the break to happen when it did. They're 10-1. They're flying in Columbus right now. But you mentioned communication, and whenever I hear that, knowing Bones, obviously I knew him not as a player-coach relationship, but as a broadcaster, and we had a great relationship. We talked to him every day. He was so good with his time. Was he as good a communicator for your limited time where you were on the team with him as we expect he is?
He was awesome. It was kind of funny. I think I played that first couple of games with him, right? Played in Carolina. I kind of had that big kind of coming out party with you guys. And I got a text.
That was 150 saves, right?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, pretty much. I got a text from him that night, and he's like, we don't obviously, win that game without you, like, hell of a job, like, welcome aboard or whatever. I was like, oh, that's really nice, like, first game. And then I played again, and he texted me, and it was like, I don't know if we won or lost, but it was like a couple throughout time where it was just like, you'd go home and you'd have a text that night of a game, and it was a compliment, and like, hey, you kept us in that game, like, head up, like, we didn't play well enough in front of you or whatever. And I was like looking at my phone, and I'm like, how do I respond? Is it like just like a thanks and like end it, or am I like have a good night, sleep well, like like
overthinking it?
Yeah, how do you text your coach back and being like, I'm not up, I'm sleeping already. Sorry, it was 11:10. I'm like, there's different sides to it, but no, it was quick. I wish that was another thing. Like I bring back the journaling thing. I wish I could go back and just write some things down and probably actually I never delete my text, so I could probably pull up his text and they'd still be in there. But But no, he was great. Even when I got the new contract and he was retired there for this fourth time, he would send out congrats texts and stuff, and he was a great communicator. And then you go to the Pete DeBoer side, like he would probably one of the coaches I've seen in the locker room more than most, and I think that was also just how he kind of operated. And then Steve Spott would be kind of your main communicator of the coaching staff, and he was always just poking his way in and being who he is. He was a fun personality to be around. And I had a previous relationship with Naz and Reeser from my early days in the coast. So I've been lucky a lot of the places, and I think it's obviously a tap on my own shoulder, but I feel like I can talk to anybody. So I've really tried to always be friendly in that, and you can trust me. I'm up, I'm down. Like it's just I'm here to work, and I think they sense that early. So I've always kind of been a communicator with management through the Zamboni guys, just kind of been the way I am, where I know some other guys kind of along that Ludsy conversation where you're a role player. If they're not outgoing, they don't talk to the coach ever because they don't really, ask questions. And it's like I, know a little bit more, I think, than most about people's personal lives because I enjoy those conversations. I like to be invested in a lot of people's different things. And it makes me feel like I'm, more than just a goalie for you when we can kind of talk about kids or houses or ranches or what people own, what they're into. It's kind of what gets me to kind of tick through my day.